Please welcome to the stage Kyle Martino of the Over.
Thank you. I think I have 10 minutes. I think that's going to start telling me that in a second. And if anyone's seen me on TV, they know that's going to be a real struggle. I got 10 extra seconds right now. So there better be a band here to play me off in 10 minutes, because I'm taking this to the buzzer. I'm Kyle Martino, former professional soccer player. Worked in NBC, ESPN, Fox for many years, covering the game of soccer. Now I'm an accidental entrepreneur and inventor, simply because 3 years ago I ran for U.S. soccer president. And that experience, losing, which athletes hate to lose, but for me, losing this time changed my life in a big way. It was the moment that I went back into the studio with NBC and realized something's going wrong. There's something that in the architecture of the game in this country we're getting wrong. And I couldn't figure out what it was. It was kind of like Jerry Maguire's bad slice of pizza. I was just like up all night, just sweating. I could not understand what it was that was this pit in my stomach that every time I went back in the studio and I talked about this amazing game, it just didn't feel right. And it was this realization when I was back at home and sort of information foraging, trying to figure out, of all the things I learned during the campaign, what is this thing on my mind I just can't get rid of? And it was that there's a fact about the game of soccer, and with such an international audience here at the summit this weekend, and I thank Concordia for compiling such an impressive group of people with so many interesting ideas to improve the quality of cultures and those that live within them. It's that soccer saves lives. I know that sounds hyperbolic, but I can't stress enough that this game is the greatest social empowerment, social justice, self-improvement, network building conduit on the planet. And it was realizing that that statement isn't true in this country was the thing that was the pit in my stomach. We have taken the most inclusive, the most incredible, the most balletic and magical experience that belongs to absolutely everyone, so inclusive that you can put down rocks and play to them. You can play with, and I'm sure people have seen these videos, you can tie trash bags together and create a football and go out with one other person and create a soccer game. And all of a sudden we had manufactured a world of friction between those that need the game and those that get the game. And it was this fact that drove me to try to find a solution, this idea that the greatest game on the planet, because it belongs to everyone, had become the privilege of a very small group of kids in this country rather than the right of every single kid. And it was initially the athlete in me, the competitor, hardwired to win. I thought, okay, well, I'm going to help our men become half as good as our women who have won World Cups. And I'm going to get them there by figuring out how do we get them in the best academies, how do we get them the best training, the best coaches. And it was really studying not only the game through the lens of people that grew up in backgrounds unlike mine, but it was traveling the world with the game and watching how people engage with it and understanding, we've marketed such a expensive and large and overly produced and overly professionalized game to a market of adults that would do anything for their kids, that would do anything to give them an advantage to get to the carrot that's at the end of playing football. In every other country, it's get out of the situation you're in and maybe one day play this game for a living. In our country, it's get to college, get an education. And I noticed what was happening in our country below a certain level. The participation numbers were dramatically dropping in specific cultures where at-risk youth needed this game the most. Latina kids, women who at young ages are already struggling with childhood obesity in rates that are remarkably higher than other cultures. And so starting with we've got to win World Cups on the men's side, I ended my information foraging with a terrifying reality that this is a health and wellness crisis. This great gift that every other country has as their birthright has become this impossible thing to achieve and to experience for kids in communities where the right to play is endless, the places to play are endless, but the way we've presented it, the way we have packaged it, has not invited these communities to come enjoy the game as it's played everywhere but this country. So I stole everything you're seeing, that video, all the things that my nonprofit is about, I stole from an idea that exists in every country but ours. And it's that travel the world and every single basketball hoop has a soccer goal underneath it. Now this seems like such a simple concept. When you deconstruct this problem and watch the remarkable drop in participation across now all sports, and Aston Institute of Sports have studied this problem and said, proximity to a facility is the highest percentage chance a kid will start and continue playing a sport. So I looked up and I thought, well, if every other country has a facility that serves multiple sports simultaneously, and if you think about our culture of basketball being the exact same cultural makeup and fabric and background of kids that play football all over the world, I thought, well, this is easy. I'm going to be a hero. I'm just going to go to Parks and Rec and say, hey guys, you guys didn't know that you can put a soccer goal under these basketball hoops. So you're welcome. And yeah, that didn't go very well. The first no I got was a basketball court is only a basketball court. The next no I got was the Parks and Rec director, who was not being nice to me, but is the reason that I spent 2 years designing a goal system that we got patented that now is in 8 cities. And it was because he said, Kyle, I like your passion. I even kind of like soccer. You guys can play on my basketball courts, but the goals have to disappear afterwards. And so on that day, I know something about me. I'm crazy when it counts. Like if you give me a challenge, I will come back with something that is going to make you speechless. And before I spent 2 years designing a goal system that can turn a basketball court not into something else because it's not being used, not into a tennis court or tennis court into a basketball court or basketball court into a soccer court, I thought to myself, this is not a zero-sum game where we take one sport away and give another one. I said, I will figure out a way that this is a street hockey court, this is a handball court, this is a lacrosse court, this is also still a basketball court, and I'll do it within the communities that at their high schools have no athletic programs. That you would think they have access to this and it's endless, right outside their windows, and that's in the Bronx, the first New York City court that we did, a highly West African community of kids that came from countries who love this game, came to this country and not knowing anyone, not knowing how to speak the language. I think sometimes we forget how hard it was to be a kid and how much harder it is to be a kid in the modern day. Imagine if you don't have one of the easiest things as an icebreaker to come out and say, hi, my name's Kyle. And now these kids come out and look out of their window, and on a court that nothing was being played, every night is now a community of kids getting behind each other, teaching each other one another things, adults showing up to show them a thing or two. And these little communities compound, and these courts, and there's 2,000 of them in New York City, are the best chance where an olive branch can be reached out to a kid at an inflection point that has been remarkably difficult in their life to say, this is yours. Come out and use this and get to know this kid right here. And you guys take care of each other. You guys teach each other something. And by the way, don't pick any of these sports. Choose sport for as long as you can play all of them. The hyper-specialization of your kid, if they're not good enough in 9's got to get out of a sport. I mean, that's even the ones that can afford to play. So in a world where in your echo chamber as a child, you're already sort of beating yourself down and finding it difficult to find your confidence, here's this amazing game that in every country but ours is the easiest one to find and the easiest thing to help you find a friend. And so for me, I'm just on a relentless mission to give the greatest gift that I've ever received in my life, a joy that continues to save me over and over again, a joy that it's kind of the only thing that loves you every day equally right back like a family would. And so for me, I look at the challenge we have of shifting a paradigm towards there is a very low-cost, high-impact way to solve a massive health crisis for these kids. And the beauty is I can twist my mustache as an athlete and as a soccer fan and go, oh, and by the way, this is the best way to create the best soccer players on the planet. So it's social enterprise where the yield is enjoyed by their benefit. These are kids that get to take the skills that they learn as a player on this court, the character it gives them and the community it gives them, and become whatever they're going to be and give that value back into the community. And it's probably not going to be as a professional soccer player. But we got to stop wasting that carrot and what it can do for these cultures that suffered so much during the pandemic. I mean, exponentially greater than those that have the means to go to college, to go to high school, that have two parents at home. And in every country but ours, the greatest equalizer is the concrete and what they're allowed to do on it. So, today I'm grateful to be here to share my story. And my story is, I've not created anything that didn't exist before. I've just only done what I can do to say, I stand against the idea that this thing that should be the right for all these kids is a very expensive and complicated problem to solve. It's not. We could solve it in New York City, and the millions of kids that would enjoy that benefit would be enough to show, and we know New Yorkers think they're the coolest city and the coolest people on the planet. It will lead to other cities and the call to action to say, well, if we did it here, why can't you do it there? So thank you for letting me tell my story today. Over Under Initiative, you can go to playoui.org and learn more about it and find out how you become a pain in the ass like I am, to simply ask the question, why aren't we doing this in our community? So thank you for having me today and let me speak about it.